Okay, this may end up being the king of all the wing it videos. Of course, that's saying something because I wing it on all of them. But I've really given this video a lot of thought. In fact, I've actually a couple of days thought, and I've actually been sitting here ready to click the record button. Excuse me. For I don't know, 45 minutes, and keep going back and forth with uh, what's in my mind, and how do I get it across to the most people. Uh, excuse me. I get a lot of emails from people that say something to the effect of, uh, Jim, I don't know how you keep up. I don't know how you answer all your emails. And it's really not the volume of emails that is difficult. It's trying to, pardon my voice today. It's not the volume of emails that I get. It's the, it's the jumping from kindergarten to sixth grade to 10th grade to junior in college to, in some cases, even graduates, and in rare cases, uh, people that are working on their doctorate. And it, it's important to me that I convey this to you guys in a video. And I've got several things I want to do here that may be a little different. Maybe that's why I spent so long thinking about it. But once again, it's not the volume of emails that is difficult for me. It is the time that I have to spend um, reading them so that I can gauge where is this person at. What what can I say to this person, being the one finger typer that I am, and it's a fast one finger, but how can I help this person without one going way over their head, or two just boring them to death because they're further along than what I'm sensing in the email. And I don't think that I'll ever be able to totally be perfect at that. And you may in this video see me stopping and starting a lot as I collect my thoughts. You know I don't do that very often. I generally just completely wing it. But I don't want to do that in this video. I want to really try to get across some things that I think have bugged people for a while. And it's bugged me because a couple of things have bugged me because I don't want to be vague. I don't want to seem elusive. Um, and I think sometimes for people that are new, they see and they realize that the material is fairly simple. And that's not their problem. Their problem is their problem. The core of their problem is the core of anybody's problem in this business. And and really, my mind's just going a million different directions right now in ways that I want to go. And I know when this video's over, I'm gonna think to myself, now why didn't you take that thought and go this direction instead of that direction? I'm just gonna have to just forget that and just go with what I feel is correct. But why do people struggle in this business? Well, everybody's read the minimum requirements and all of that. I don't want to go there today, and I'm probably going to be redundant, just because that's my nature, and I just think there's some truth to this business. But why do people struggle with with just just in general? Just why can't people do this? Why is it so hard? And once again, to backtrack just a little bit, anytime I'm doing a video, or anytime I'm returning an email, or anytime I'm in somebody's journal, it is not that I don't want to be there or I ignore things. It's that when somebody asks me to come into a journal to take a look at something, that's what I'm here to do. I don't mind doing that. But understand that I don't want to come in there and give somebody an answer that's just good enough to tide them over and make them feel good that I stopped by. That doesn't make me feel good at all. And I'm not going to do that to people, or at least I'm going to try real hard not to. But when I come into journals, I literally have to sit there and go back sometimes to the very first post and read every single post that person has made. Look at every single chart that that person has posted. And then I have to arrive at the end of that thread, and then I have to sit back and say, okay, what is this person doing? What level are they at? And then try to formulate a response or reply to them that will actually help them and not confuse them. So once again, and I'll get off the subject, it's not the volume of emails or requests for help that bother me. And nothing bothers me. It's the it's the preparation and the thought process that goes into trying to help each individual person who's at each individual person is at a different level. So I'm going to try to clear some of that up with this video. I don't know how if I will succeed, but I'm going to try. And like I said, I may stop and start. I have no idea how long this is going to go. But we're going to go through some pairs. We're going to go through my list. We're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, possibly more pairs. And we're going to look at June of '09. And we're just going to, and I may start doing this, I will start doing this. The end of every month, I will do my best to do a review for that month. And I want this video to try to encompass or try to convey a thought process from me to you, regardless of your skill level or where you're at, of why people do some things and why others do others, and it always comes back to practice and skill. And like I said, what we do is pretty simple. But I'm gonna pause this real quick, collect my thoughts, and then we're gonna start right back. Okay, like I said, we may be doing a bunch of that. Before I get into this, I've had some requests to go over and look at some journals. 80, of course, I've been keeping an eye on. Michael 81, I think I've got that right. And this video really came out of Michael's request. And then Lindsay also asked me to stop by. This video kind of came about from their questions and what I saw going on in their journals. And let me just say this before I forget. 80 made the comment that, and I don't have his form pulled up, I should, that, and before I say this, let me say one other thing. All of them have remained around break even. And I can't even begin to convey to anybody listening to this video at their stage just how incredible that is. I mean, I truly mean that. I mean, to be able to be as early on as some of these people and to be hanging in there break even at this point is just phenomenal to me. I made a post in Lindsay's forum that, I was 5 years into this and I was so far under break even, I couldn't see that level with a pair of binoculars, and that's the truth. Now, obviously, I didn't have some of the tools that you guys have, but I have some serious doubts whether I would have, even with your tools, whether or not I could have been at that level that some of you are at. So I think all of you that are at that level should take that as a great thing, simply a great thing. But my mind goes places, even though I know in my heart that that's great. Here's where my mind goes when I see that. My mind literally thinks to myself, looking at this person sitting on a fence. What is the likelihood this person is going to fall from that balancing act of being break even? Where does my mind think that person is likely to fall? On the failure side or on the success side? Well, I have to be honest. My mind visualizes that person falling on the failure side. And that doesn't mean that if that happens, they won't get back up in the middle and then eventually work their way till they fall on the successful side. Please understand that. It's just that I've been down this road, and I understand that it's the old adage of if you fall off the horse, get back on it. I mean, that's just the way this is. Some people will, some people won't. But I see the potential for them falling, at least at this stage, that direction more likely than the other direction. So the question comes up for me personally, why do I feel that way? Well, because I see the newness in what they're doing. And like I said, we're going to get into that in a minute. So hope I'm not boring you. We'll get into the charts here in a second. Um, and then I see people going, they're hanging break even, and then I'll see out of the blue, I'll see that 4 hour chart. And I am not going to be condescending. I'm going to try not to be. I'm not going to jump in anybody's face. I'm just going to quietly, and in my own little way, I'm going to say, please reconsider that. Have you gone through the minimum requirement stage? And I can't sit and say for sure that the person that's I'm looking at with the 4 hour chart hasn't, but I can obviously see when they joined. So, it's pretty cut and dried as far as I'm concerned if I take the time to actually look that close. I want people to succeed. But I know in my heart that it's not going to happen like everybody else sending you those things to your inbox. Hey, look at this system. Hey, look at the results that we're having. Come on, you got to get on board. This is your chance to become rich. You know, I just know that it takes some work, it takes some time, it takes some dedication. And I've seen, well, obviously we know of people that have taken what I have taught them and modified it and kind of changed it into their own little trading type methods. People like Rack, people like Clockwork 71, even Mike and others. I could go on and on and on. Giroux, I don't want to miss anybody. I mean, just literally tons of people that I know for a fact are consistently good traders that have taken this material and modified it to suit their personalities. And the 2 day pin bar would be an example. Ryan MCD, a great deal of respect for him and how he goes about things. I see myself in him a great deal. Real quickly, I want to get back before I forget about it. Eddie made the comment that out of all the trades that he took, and I believe he was a little under zero. I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and look. But that if he had put his stop on all his setups that he took, if he had just left his stop alone behind the bar, that I think he was like 4 wins, 3 losses, or it could have been something different than that. But every single setup he took, if he had left his stop alone behind the bar, would have been a winner. So that brings us to just one of the many stages that go on between your ears. The bars are easy to learn. Over time, it's not hard to refine and get good at taking just the best ones. 80 has already learned that the really, really good setups have a super high chance of eventually reaching that first area of support and resistance before violating the backside of the bar. But then, people watch me. And because, and I always say to people, well, when you're trading a very large account, watching a small fortune go into drawdown is a very difficult thing to do. And that's not to say that somebody with a large account can't have the personality that will allow them to do that. I'm just not built that way. So it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for me to have, let's just use the number of 6. It's not uncommon for me to have 6 trades in a month. It's not uncommon for me to have 2 wins, 0 or 1 loss, and the rest break even. My losses are virtually nothing because when a bar breaks for me and it comes back on me, I'd like the way Ryan puts it, I kill it. That's just me. Now that doesn't mean that you can't do it the way 80's talking about would have worked out for him had he left his stops. The bottom line on this is that all of that's really a moot point. what really is important is taking the best setups, and that's what we're fixing to get into the charts here, and we're going to look. And I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to let you look at the charts. I'm going to let you decide what you think is going on with this chart. But once again, let me say that I'm going to have people watching this that have no, even though what we do is simple, have no idea what we're doing. And then I'm going to have people that are like, I've seen it 1,000 times, Jim. Well, so what do I do? I'm going to keep my focus on the new people. I'm going to keep my focus on pounding home the basics. That's where I've got to stay. People that are advanced, they know how to contact me. They know how to send me charts. I'll look at anything. I'll help in any way I can. The advanced people, for the most part, really don't need me. They really have reset point. What I love about the advanced people is that they're willing to help you, if you're listening, you, the new person. And if you're not participating in the senior member section, in Mike's section, a main instructor, but getting involved in that senior member section with those people, Clockwork and Rack and BMAC, this is a journey, ladies and gentlemen. This is not, hey, throw me the entry and the exit, and so I can get out of this crappy job I have. It's just, that's not the way it is. For those of you that are new, that are watching this, or intermediate, or struggling, or whatever, this does not have to be an unpleasant journey for you. I personally love to learn. I love to learn about a lot of different things. That's just the way I'm geared. My wife thinks I'm out of my mind. I'm in so many different things that I like to learn about. Some people just don't like to do that. I understand that. Well, this business may not be for you if you're like that, just to be honest with you. So let's do this. Let's look at some charts, and I've got June, or the end of May, marked. This is the euro, and once again, coming back to new people, a lot of you old folks hear me spell the letters out. I do that for a reason, because some of the new people, when you say, the loonie or whatever, the cable or whatever, they have no clue what you're talking about. So when you hear me do that, the reason I'm doing it is for the new people. This is the euro dollar, the EUR USD daily chart. Now, here is the month of June. You tell me if you see an A+ setup for the month of June. Just look at the chart, and this is going to be a long video. We're going to take our time. You tell me what you see. New people, come back to it once you are a little bit, have spent just a couple of days learning it. Well, I'm not going to put pivot zones on here. I'm not going to do fib. Well, I take that back. I probably will end up doing it. But let's just look at this. People are always trying to trade. Okay? Because you got to trade to be a trader, right? Well, I don't know. I think we want to make money. I don't really care how much I trade. And once again, I think it comes back a lot of times to account size. But anyway, you tell me what's going on with this chart. Anybody that has been doing this for a while learns, and it doesn't take long, the really good setups jump out at you. They literally jump out at you. Well, I'm looking at this chart. I've given you a chance to look at it. And the only thing on this chart, there's actually two things that I see. They don't really jump out at me, but there's two things I see. I see this bearish outside bar, okay? And based on what we know, if we took that bearish outside bar, where is price likely to go if it breaks? I'll let you look at the chart and come up with what you think, where you think, based on what you're learning. Once again, new people, you'll have this down in a week, and you'll be able to come back over here and do this, and it'll be a fun exercise for you. I'm going to start doing this. The subsequent videos on this for every month will be much shorter. This is just to get us started. Okay, obviously, we have been taught that price respects previous, call them what you want, pivot zones. That's what I like to call them. But anyway, obviously we have old resistance, old support back in May. A break of this bar is going where? Well, we also know that we want to watch large numbers. Let's look at the bottom of this bar to see where that is. Well, and here I am winging it here, folks. I didn't check this bar before I started this video. Where do you think, here's our bearish outside bar, where do you think the bottom of this bar stopped? Do you think there's a pretty good chance that it stopped on a big round number? 3804. 3804 is where that bar stopped. Where did it stop? Okay, I'll just forget about this. Look over here. Look at these bar lows. Look at this single bar high. Okay, so is this an A plus in the bank kind of setup that, no, I don't think so. Is it a bar? Is it the bar kind of bar we look for? A bearish outside bar. We look for outside bars. Absolutely. Would somebody that had been doing this for a while know exactly how to trade this bar for a profit? Without question. Simple. How could it be? How could it be any more simple? I mean, I know you guys probably get tired of me hearing me say that, but I mean, there's nothing on our charts here. It's just simple support and resistance and a bar. I didn't even look for for divergence, but I won't. Okay, so that bar's there, but I mean, does that really jump out at you? No, it doesn't. Next thing, and I don't even know if this actually closed on my feed. 39.32, close. Closes. No, didn't make it. But the other thing that jumps out at me visually is this bar. And obviously because it has that pin bar look. Now on my feed, this close did not make it inside of this bar. Now once again for the new people, the Interbank FX has this 1-2 hour Sunday bar. Some people totally ignore it and just use this bar. Some people combine it. So if you combine it, this would be your open, this would be your close. Okay? But either way, the close was a little bit under this bar, which technically makes it not a pin bar. But what if this close had closed 5 pips higher and it had been a pin bar? Is this a decent setup? Well, it's certainly not. It's not a bad one, but where is it? It's it's kind of in a sideways market. If you take this trade, where is it going? Where is price going? Look at the bar high. Look at the bar low. Okay, where does price go? That's where it goes. Okay, pretty simple. All right, so suffice it to say that not really anything jumping at us here on the Euro chart. I'm not going to get into 2-day pin bars here, and so nothing that really jumps out. But there was one actual bar setup that was generally kind of what we look for, and it actually did exactly what you would think it did. Once again, I'm trying this video very hard to not be vague. I see people taking 12, 15 trades a month. With this video, I want to try to show you, well, how I look at it. All right. So let's move on to the next one. And this is going to be the USD JPY, the dollar yen, and we are on May 31st. Here is June. Okay, you tell me, is there any bar or setup or double top or triple bottom, this basic simple stuff we look for? And is there anything on there that really jumps out at you? Let you look at it, and I probably will jump back a month or two and show you a couple that do. But okay, there's one bar that jumps out at me visually, but obviously it is not the it's not that slam dunk in your face. Oh wow, this is what we wait for. Is this pin bar right here? Okay, and I'll look back again, make sure I don't miss any. I'm looking. This pin bar right here. Okay, where is price going? Here's our pin bar. Where is price going if it breaks? New people. We don't just look at pivot zones, we look at old bar lows and old bar highs. If you've decided to trade this bar, you've accepted that it's less than an A plus setup, and I'm not going to get into all of that. It just takes a little bit of time. And but where is price going? Well, obviously it's going to these bar lows. Okay, right exactly where it went. Just, back on the other chart and on this chart, we just can't take losses here. It's just insane. So far this month, one bar that that meets our criteria, that looks good, and if you trade this bar and price gets right down here where it went, and you keep your stop at a loss, and you take a loss, then I certainly hope you're brand new, because if you're not, you should know better. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you, before we finish this video, I'm going to show you what I try to do with these bars. Okay? We all know that Jim doesn't take full bar losses. We all know that Jim takes small losses. And as Adi said, we all know that generally if we take the best setups, that price is almost guaranteed to reach that area that we suspect it will reach before it busts the back side or the bottom side if it's the other direction. Okay? At the very end of this video, I'm going to show you what I try to do. Okay, and I'll give you a hint. It's right here. Okay, so I actually had another chart that I was going to show you, but I'm going to write this one down and come back to it. As you can tell, I'm not in a hurry on this video. So, and it won't be posted in the forum. It'll go on on my page. So once again, here is the dollar yen for the month of June so far. And if I miss one here visually, feel free to email me. I don't think I will. Okay, let's go to the next one. I'm going to get rid of these. Here's the pound dollar, the GBP USD daily chart. Okay, let me double check, I've got my bar set right. Okay. Now, you tell me what's going on this month with this pair. If you're trading and you're trading smart and you're trading with a small account, but you're trying to be picky, you're forcing yourself to be picky. Excuse me. Or you're trading with a $500,000 account and you're looking for those 3 or 4 best setups a month to take. Is there anything here that jumps out at you? Well, obviously we had the big bearish outside bar at the extreme high. Many years of doing this has told me that when that happens, it's a good setup. But we have to understand what's going on below it, so that if it reverses on us, we're not going to take a huge loss. Or if we choose to trust that this is an A plus setup and we're using correct risk profiles, that we understand where that first area, if it reaches, that common sense and a good business-like approach tells us we need to get something off the table or get to break even. So in this case, most of the bar highs are down here. There is one here. And then there's some bar lows here. So that's generally the thought process on a break. So we have the bearish outside bar, and it breaks. And where does this first bar break? Where does, and the thing is that for you guys that have been doing this for a while, this is, you smile when you see it. You new people, you're going to learn that this happens over and over and over again. It is rare. And I'll show you one later where it didn't, and I took a small loss. And some people took big losses. But it's rare for it not to, once you learn, it's rare for it not to hit that first area. Okay, here is our bar high. And it is at a round number. This bar high is at 59.50. Okay, 59.50. We want to watch our 50s and we want to watch our double zeros or bigger. And where does price have a hard time? Okay, let's make sure I got this right. Excuse me, I was wrong. Let me restate this. This bar high is 6084. So right around the 6100 level. This bar low is 1 pip different, 6083. Do you think that there is a correlation between that number, the bottom of this bar, and the high of this bar right here? You better believe, because there is. And do you think that there is a correlation between the pullback? Please pay attention to this. Do you think that there is a correlation between the pullback of this bar back to here and the bottom of our bearish outside bar? Do you think that there is a correlation between the next push down with this bar low and these bar highs? Not even checking round numbers, I'll guarantee you they're there. Do you think that there is a correlation between this next push down and this bar low and these bar lows? Do you think that there is a correlation between this back push back up high and this bar high and this bar low and this bar high? Play that over 15 times. Because once you learn what I just showed you, and you learn to be picky, you will never, ever, ever take a full bar loss. And your trading will, over a period of time, not weeks, probably not months, might be years. But if this is what you want to do, and this is your goal, to be in a situation where you can find some freedom in your life, to not have to get up and punch a clock every day. You guys know I don't go down this road very often. Very, very seldom do I start throwing stuff out like this at people. Lord knows for too many years I heard the hype, I heard the crap, I paid the money, I followed the crazy dream. This is how it happens. Not because I say it happens, not because you're paying me, and I almost used the word measly, $129 a month. I realize that's a ton of money for some of you in certain parts of the world. Fully aware of that. I have been under tremendous pressure for years to raise that rate, and I have not done it because, well, for several reasons. But I'm not going to sit here and do that again. But I could do that with every single setup, virtually. Let me restate that. Virtually every single setup can be disseminated and reconstructed like a puzzle, just like I just showed you. Okay? All right. Next bar. This is our Sunday bar. And this is kind of this is a pin bar here. I would have liked to have seen the nose a little longer, but you know what? It's kind of off by itself, and it jumps out at you. It did it me when it happened. Where is the first push of this bar going? Well, the first thing I'd be looking for is this bar high, this bar low, this bar high. Okay, right in this area. I bet you there's a round number up there probably. Let's see. It's right around 62.50. Okay, I keep the 365 on my chart for a reason. Time has told me over the years that that's not a bad thing to have on your charts when you're trying to disseminate and understand and manage your entries and exits. So where does price go? It goes to the 365. Now look what we got going on. Okay? Now look what we going on. And I'm going to say this one time in this video. Anybody can trade this. Well, not anybody. Now, there was even a time when I couldn't trade it. But anybody can do this. Most of the time markets do this. Okay? And if you can't, and I'll say it again, if you can't learn to do one of two things in this, okay, then you need to just quit because you're going to lose your money. If you can't learn to know to stay out when this is going on, or if you can't, or learn how to trade it, one of the two has to happen. In my opinion, and I could be wrong, it's just my opinion. But we see this start to go on. Now, the advanced people, the experienced people, love this, and I love this. In fact, I feel kind of more, what's the word I want to use? I love to catch these, and we're going to talk about these in a minute at the end of the video. This is what we're going to talk about. Because this is what I try to catch. And I don't catch a lot of them because they're hard to catch a lot of times, especially if you're trying to keep your stop loss tight and your losses to a minimum. But when I see this start to happen, it is so reliable with bar setups, especially if you've got an EMA going along with it. This is not something that you go out and attempt with real money. You have a demo account, and you have a sideways market trading demo account. You'd be serious about this. You know, I'm not gonna risk real money until I know I can trade this kind of market or I can stay out of it. I think staying out of it's harder than trading it. Wow, that kind of hit me kind of hard. I think I ever thought of it like that. It's harder for me to stay out of this than it is for me to trade it. I think a lot of experienced people that do this, have been doing this with me for a while, would agree with that. Okay, what am I talking about? Are these, here's a pin bar. Here's a pin bar. And you see these reverse a lot in these sideways markets. Okay? And are they, in any way, shape, or form, are these A++ setups? Good Lord, no. But once again, we come back to the simple fact that price tends to do what you think it's going to do when we're looking at price like we look at it. It's very simple. So if you took this bar, where is it going? Well, it's going to the bottom of the sideways market, the consolidation. Okay? Now, you can't sit and say, well, I'm going to pick this bar low, and if it doesn't make it, I'm leaving my stop back here. No, no, no. That's why you demo this. You demo this to learn. Some people will know that automatically. Some people won't. And so that's why you take your time on demo and you learn it. Because what happens when you do that, and I understand some of you need to use micro accounts instead of demo, that's fine. Some of you just have to have a few pennies on the line, and I understand that. But some people will totally miss the fact that these, they'll see price get right here. Well, it's supposed to go another 20 pips, please. Okay, so let's just look. The bottom of that bar is 62.31. All right, so I'll bet you this is right around 6,200, 61.86. So obviously, when you're looking at this, if you decide you want to take that bar, well, obviously, you're thinking that round number. Well, don't let price get down here close to it and then reverse on you, especially when you're trying to trade a sideways market, okay, or any market. So what do we get? We get a reversal pin bar. Where's price going? Well, it's going to the top of the channel. Okay, that's what it does. All right, so anyway, have I really seen so far in all these charts, have I seen something that's just absolutely slam dunk, whoopee, this meets all the criteria, no, I really haven't seen that yet. I've seen some really good setups. Okay? All right, let's move on. Let's go to the uh, EURCHF. Okay. I know that sounds beginnerish, but I do it for a reason. All right. Let's take a look. This has been doing some crazy stuff. Do we see anything here that jumps out at us? Do we see anything that jumps out at us? Well, we obviously obviously see this as sideways. Okay, so might want to just stay out of it. And so before we move on, you may be asking yourself, well, Jim, how do we know when we've broken out of this? Well, we never can know for sure, but there is a great way, and it's one of the things I always look for. And many that have been doing this for a while understand this. Okay, we obviously have a ton of bar lows at the 5,000 area. This is the 5,000 area. Okay, and I could even do it on the top side. But let's do it on the bottom side because it's so nice. Okay, how do we know when there's a chance that we may be getting started on a trend? Well, what I do is, and I've made this comment before, you could set, when you see this kind of support, and it's a flip back over here, but when you see this kind of support or resistance on this kind of a round number, you could set, and I'm not telling you to do this, I don't do it very often, but you could be better, you could just go look for this setup, and you could be better than 8 out of 10 traders, maybe more, by just simply setting a sell stop at 49.90 and your stop at 5,005, 5,010. A daily chart with a breakout potential with this kind of support. And you've got a reasonably good chance of catching the beginning of a trend or a really strong early move with virtually no stop. You follow me? Trading like that is more reliable than 99.9% of any system you're ever going to buy off the internet or anything you're ever going to learn. Okay? So, but what do I do? Well, maybe that approach would be as good or better than what I do. I don't know. I just kind of do what I do. What I like to see happen, and we're going to get into that towards the end of this video. What I like to see happen is I like to see price break through and make a pullback and give me a bar confirmation. Now, I know I'm asking for a lot, and I know that I'm putting myself in a situation by asking for that where if I make a criteria for my trades that I'm only going to take trades if this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. Every time I put a this happens in that sequence, I lower the number of trades that are going to be available to me. Let me say that again. If my criteria for a trade entry requires that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and this happened, that's 5 this happens. If it was only 3, I'm going to get more trades. If it was 10, I'm going to have even fewer. But my experience tells me that the more of this happens type scenario I have, that the higher odds I have of having a successful and profitable trade. That is much easier to do with a large account. I understand that. But I also know this. If your trade criteria, if your trade setup entry criteria involves this happens. Notice I stopped with 1. Then you're going to have a ton of trades and you're going to lose. If your trade entry criteria revolves around, I want to be redundant, I'm going to say it again though. If your trade entry criteria revolves around a thought process of, I'm waiting for this to happen, and I'm going to take the trade, you're in trouble. For almost 30 years, and for almost a decade when I first started out, my trading revolved around, I'm waiting for this to happen. And then I figured out, okay, well, maybe I should refine this and look harder and do some more research and practice some more. And if this happens and this happens, well, it still wouldn't work for me. If this happens and this happens and this happens, well, things started to get better. Fewer trades, less stress. And that was the scenario. That was the process that I went through as a person many years ago that was literally, I was going to figure this out or I was going to die freaking trying. And just talking about that, just right then, I felt anger come up in me because I felt so much anger back then. Frustration, anger, and you know what? I look back on it now, and I've said this to you guys many times. It was my own stupid fault. It was my own stupid fault. I was smarter than that. You know? So, anyway. All right. Getting one of Jim's, I don't know if that was a rant or not, but going down memory lane. So, anyway, what we're going to get into at the end of the video is the best thing that can happen to us is to be able to find that entry into a trend when it's just starting. And at the same time, if we guess wrong, if we're wrong in our list of assumptions that this is the move, we're not going to lose a lot of money. Okay? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to pick off, if we get good enough at it, we're trying to pick off easy money in a sideways market. And then we're trying to set ourselves up in a situation where we can catch a few trends. We're not going to catch a lot of them. The only way you're going to catch a lot of them is to do what I described to you, the blind entry. Okay? The blind entry out of a very solid area of support and resistance. Nothing wrong with demoing that. It gives you a super tight stop, and many times you will catch it. Okay? All right, my mind's going a million different places. Let's just take one last look here before we move on. Almost messed up. Okay, any bars jumping out as well? I see a really silly it's a pin bar by definition. If you're going to take this trade, D type setup. If you're going to take it, is it got a real good chance to make these bar highs? Sure does. That's the other interesting thing about this. You hear me talk about a D setup. Well, the D setups are still going to probably do what you think they're going to do. You just got to know how to trade them. Okay. This is why lower time frames are so hard. Trading is hard because of this up, down, up, down, up, down. Look at every bar covering the previous bar. That's why trading's hard. Okay? That is why trading is hard. We must understand, in some form or fashion, we must understand where price is going, and before it does it, we have to understand why there's a likelihood that will happen, and we have to have confidence from practice and time that it's going to happen. It's going to happen for us. And it's going to be repetitive and reliable and dependable. Otherwise, we as humans, what goes on between our ears, we fall apart. We just fall to pieces when we're dealing with a situation mentally like this, and we're talking about our own money. Okay? So, pin bar, it makes the bar high. All right, we get this, we see a lot. We see a lot of these reversal pin bars in these sideways markets. Well, here we get one. Where is price going? I mean, it's off of the top, yes. Awfully tight market. You better understand our bar lows and our places to get out. Okay, so where's price going? Well, not much doubt. If I'm messing with this, I'm looking bar low here. That's where it goes. Okay. Where is it probably going to reach eventually? It's going to reach these bar lows down here, which it does. All right. Okay. Interesting that we have a bullish outside bar right here trapped. Don't lose sight of this. A bullish outside bar trapped between the 5,000 pivot zone, incredibly strong support, and the 150 EMA. Do you think? And it just takes time. When I saw that, I knew it was like a snake wound up tight. I didn't say anything to anybody. I felt like I would confuse people with that. I'm concerned about the new people. Don't want to give them more than they can chew off. But when I saw that form, I knew something was coming. It was just too wound up tight. Incredible support. Right up against the 150. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say that spike was news driven. Whatever. I can show you many instances of this. It would have broke just as hard if it had gone this way as this way. Interesting that it found the 365 as resistance. All right? And also right at the 5,400 level. So. Okay, there's that chart. Let's move on. How long this video is going to be. Okay, let's go to, and I didn't even put my line on this one. I haven't done anything here. See, now this proves to you that I hadn't been messing around thinking about this a whole lot. I told you I thought about it some, but not a lot. It is what it is, and I'm better off not thinking about things too much. Okay. There we go. Okay, the month of June. What do we have? Looks like a sideways market to me, ladies and gentlemen. And what jumps out at you? Take a look at it. Boy, this video better not crash on me. If it does, I'm going to scream. Everything looks like it's recording fine. Okay, what jumps out at you, ladies and gentlemen? Well, if I was going into June, and I was sitting on this bar, I'd be looking just mentally. I'd be thinking, okay, well, anything coming in the 1st of June, going down, I need to pay attention to these bar highs, and that's going to be around the 7,900 level, and I need to pay attention to these bar highs and these bar lows. Okay. Nice little price flip. And I would bet you, 7,700. Almost always, okay? So, what's the first thing that jumps out at you? Is there anything on this chart that you see that makes you say, okay, well, Jim, there's that bar. Well, obviously we have a bearish outside bar, okay? And this is one of those deals where, sometimes I will take a small loss on these. And then others will ride it out. And sometimes with great results. Like 80 says, almost all the time, these will eventually work out for you. But, I have a real hard time watching $15,000, $20,000 go into the red back up in here or more. Okay, that's just me. I know people in the group trade a lot bigger accounts than me. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I know some that do. I'll keep my money spread around a little bit. All right. This bearish outside bar, where is it likely to find trouble? Well, we just discussed this right here, didn't we, going into it? And that's where it did have trouble, didn't it? And then you got this pullback, you got this drawdown, and then you got a further push, and it did not quite make this level, did it, that we were talking about? Got another big drawdown. I would never in a million years watch this happen. Some of you are okay with that. You trust the setup. I, you know, I can't, I can't sit here and tell everybody, hey, you, by golly, you got to do it like me. I can't do that. 80s, uh, you know, post that all his setups would have gone where he thought they were going to go, and they would have all been winners. How can I argue with that? I can't argue with that. I wouldn't try to argue with that. I've never tried to argue with that. I am always torn between that thought process and my thought process. Okay? So, but I think the good news is that once you get really good at this and you get really picky, I don't know that it really, you know, in the end, it really matters. Other than the fact that that when you do get that odd one, that rare one that burns you, that's a hell of a loss. You know, I'd be sick for a week, maybe longer. No, I'd be sick for a month. So, anyway, it eventually made it down. Okay, close to it. And it may still make it. I think there's a pretty good chance that's where it's going to make it. I think there's a real good chance that. And I'm watching PA right here. I want to see. Look at here. I am currently watching this. I would love to see price pull up into this area and give me a bar with divergence happening. Okay. So that's what I do on these sideways markets. That's what I look for. Divergence, double, triple top, and an easily definable area of where price is likely to go. All right. Okay. Let me look at this one last time. And let's move on. Okay, the USD CAD. The dollar CAD, and I've got this on weekly, and I've got it there for a reason for later on. But we're going to look at daily. I didn't look at daily, so let me eyeball this. Okay, there it is, 531. All right. Let me make sure I've got it in the recording. Okay, let's take a look at June. Make sure I've got June here. Yes. Okay. Take a look at it. Anything jump out at you? Anything jump out at you? Let me move this over just a hair. In fact, this right here is the 531, and that's the Sunday. Let's put this back. I'm going to back this up. Anything jump out at you? Boy, a lot of people sweated this one out. And I'm going to move it on back a little bit more so I can talk about it. This pin bar right here, if you don't count the Sunday bar, 895. Yeah. If you count the Sunday bar with this bar, this didn't qualify, but most of you don't. Most of you just count this right here. So this pin bar, everybody saw this, including me, and here's where it's going, right? No question. Well, it did, but boy, we rode it, didn't we? We rode it close. Just one of those, one of those deals. Nice pin bar, extreme low, and a really nice definable area where price, and that is the 1100 area. Go figure. Bar low is right on 1100. So we get the pin bar, we get just a little bit of a break to get most people in. I think some people had it a little higher than that. And then, boom, here comes the big drawdown. And once again, these are the ones that have a tendency to get me for a small loss, just because of the way I trade. When I say small loss, I mean on a daily chart somewhere around 30 pips. Very rarely will I take more than that. So what happens? Well, like 80 says, they tend to always work out. It's when they don't that will make you swallow hard when you're trading with a lot of money. We get this pullback, and look here, the next bar, the next day, bam, right where we would expect. Right where when we saw the bar form, we knew where price was likely to go. Now the next bar we get pulls back. Where is it likely to pull back to? These bar highs, right? Okay, it does. Next bar shoots on off, comes back. All right, anything else that jumps out at you? A lot of you, I got emails from people that took this. Once again, I'm not telling people to, trade everything in sight. I'm extremely picky. But if you don't count, if you counted the Sunday, it might have worked anyway. But pin bar, where is price going? Bar low, isn't it? Going to the bar low, right where it goes. All right, so can't take a loss here, folks. You just can't. Just can't do it. And now here we are up into recent price history. What are we getting here? We're getting these little pin bars in a sideways market, aren't we? What are they doing? Well, they're giving you quick little profits. Please don't new people run off and trade these with real money. Please. Please. I rarely trade these unless I have a sustained sideways and I've got pretty good distance between them. I spend my trading like this in other markets, or the mini Dow specifically. All right, well, what do we got now? We've got this bearish outside bar. Where is price likely to go if this breaks? These bar highs, where are they at? 1371. 1371, is that right? High? Yeah. So, bar highs right here. They also extend over to here, and then we have a bar low. Got bar lows here. Got to be careful with this. And then the next area would be these bar lows, these bar highs, these little price flips. Notice how price does that. Creates resistance, goes through, creates support. Creates resistance, pops through, creates support. Over and over again. It's like a stair. One stair, two stairs, three stairs. Very reliable, very dependable, very predictable. All right. Let's move on to the NZD USD, the New Zealand dollar, the American dollar. Okay. 531, right there. Anything jumping out at you? I hope the one thing that all of you people that are kind of intermediate or even kind of towards the new range that are over in your journals and you're hanging around break even, I really kind of hope what you see here is that I think you're doing a good job. We've had some sideways action here this month in a lot of these markets, and you got to be picky. And if you will, you'll be fine. I'm thrilled at some of you. I think most of you hang around break even or do better than break even. That thrills me. Okay, anything that jumps out at you here? Anything at all? Well, we obviously kind of have a pin bar right here off the 365. I don't like the fact that it's way back up into this big long bar. I'd like to have seen the top of this bar a little bit lower down in the bar and the nose sticking down into here. Okay, just comes with time. We obviously have some old resistance here. Okay, and we've got this bar low here. That anything, if you're going to take this type setup, you've got to be aware of that. Look at this bar high and this bar low. Go to 1 hour, 4 hour, whatever, you'll see that. It'll look big on a flip. So what happens? Well, this, I don't remember any emails from anybody because I don't think they took this. I don't think that anybody felt like this was a good enough form pin bar, me included. But it went very close to where you would suspect. Let's look at here. Okay, 64.18. Okay, big round number. It hit your 6,400 level and it reversed. Here's another example. of taking less than really great setups, you put yourself in jeopardy of this happening. The 365 did not hold on the pullback. Okay, it eventually made the very bottom of this bar low. Okay, which is not surprising. Not surprising at all. Okay, anything else that jumps out at you? Anything else you see? Well, obviously this one right here, pin bar. I believe this is the one that got me, yeah, this is it. This is the one that got me for, I think it was 30 pips. Okay, I generally don't take these. I was, you know, I don't want to say I broke my rules. It just looked very pretty to me. Bar high, bar low, strong resistance. Okay, 365, strong support. I think if you went and looked for this setup, like I've shown you before, there was a great, great chance that we were going to see this bar lows. And we did not. In fact, this came within, and I'm trying to remember, yes, the low of this bar is 63.45. I had my my alert set at, if I remember correctly, set at 6,300, which is about where that line is. That's where I was going to go to break even, or take some off the table, or take full profit. And it didn't happen, and it eventually came back and busted the backside. I think my loss on it was 30 pips. You know, obviously, I'm glad I didn't hang on to that stop way back there. But once again, once you've done this for a while, you'll realize even these less than A plus setups, very rare to see this happen. Okay, and I'm totally aware that this is a 2-day pin bar. For those of you that nobody emailed me about it, but I'm aware of that. Okay, I just don't want to confuse. I don't want to confuse new people. All right, I probably should not have traded into that, and I thought about that before I did. So, anyway, all right, let's move on. Let's go to the euro pound. Can't believe the phone hasn't rang. Let's see here. 531 right there. Okay. This is interesting. Anything jump out at you here? Yeah, there's some, I'll let you look for a second. But there's some interesting things here. I got some emails from people that done real well on this month. But simply because it's been very consistent, and most of the time it is. I can't believe I put sunflower seeds in my mouth in the middle of a video, but I just did. All right. Pardon me for that. Okay. What's the first thing here? Well, we obviously have a bullish outside bar at a low. Okay? Bullish outside bar at a long run low, a string low. What is the first area that would concern me? Well, the top of this bar is right on this bottom bar. Let's see what the high of this is. 86.93. You certainly don't want to enter this bar below a double zero, which would be 87. If it does break 87, there is a huge chance it's going to reach this area. Bar lows, bar lows, bar lows. They're staggered a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to show you in a second proof of that. Okay, so we get the huge move, all right? And then what happens? Well, we obviously have the 150. Notice how that 150 and where that bar ended was at these bar highs, okay? And also notice that this bar, where the low of this bar was where? Remember our bar lows? Well, it just respected it for a short time. Bar highs here also. And it doesn't take a whole long time to get good at this, folks. You know that. All of you know that. Okay, so this was a nice trade off of this bullish outside bar. Very nice. Did exactly what it was supposed to. Then we get this pin bar. Okay, and once again, the open and the close are a little bit further apart. Not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just pointing it out. We have a decent nose, and it reaches back to the 150, and it's obviously let's see here. I'm going to put the 8,700 on there. This pin bar, if we're going to trade this, we've got to be aware of that. Why do we have to be aware of that other than the fact that it's the 8,700 area? Well, notice that it's also the very top of this bar, this bullish outside bar. Okay, so we just mentally make a note of that. Okay, there's the 8,700. If we're going to trade an immediate break of this, we're not going to play around with this. And then some people would trade a break of the 8,700 level. So we get this, we get the pin bar, we get the break. Where is it going? Well, if it can get underneath 8,700, the next bar has a very good chance for this area to act as resistance. Didn't even test it. Okay, just shot on through. Where is the first area that we would suspect it could have trouble next? Obviously, these bar lows. Where does this bar stop? Right there. Okay. Is there a reason to believe that this bar pulled back and did so in correlation? I don't even remember the word I was using earlier for it. This bar low? I think so. I think over time you'll see it happen so many times that you just become a believer. Okay, even a single bar can create support and resistance. Go look at it on a 1-hour chart if you don't believe it. Okay, price pushes on down, hits the 365. Now look what we have going on. Okay, we're back to sideways action. It's where we spend most of our time. Okay, price consolidates, moves. Consolidates, moves. And so here we go again, sideways market. What are we going to do? We're going to stand aside and wait for that breakout and the PA to give us confirmation we might be hitting the next trend. We're going to try to trade inside this this consolidation. Well, it's very possible, and it can be very profitable once you get good at it. And you've practiced it. Pin bar. Where's price going? Well, 365 is going to concern me to start with, but obviously feel pretty confident. These bar lows. We get another one, pin bar. Where's price going? Well, look at the flip. Support, resistance. That's where it goes. Okay, then we get, and I know some of you are in this. In fact, it surprised me a little bit. I thought y'all were risking yourself here. I know a couple of people over on the free thread that took this rather strange bullish outside bar. Has that pin bar look, but it's an outside bar. It encompasses this bar, and they're trading for this top area, and they've got it. Okay, no big surprise. It does what it normally you think it will do, over and over and over again. Okay. All right. So once again, some nice setups, some decent setups. A plus plus plus. Don't know that I'd put any of them there, folks. Okay. Make sure there's nothing else I want to say about that chart. Okay. Next one. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. The pound yen, GBP, JPY. Anything jump out at you? Take a look. Anything jump out at you? I'm really serious about this. I mean, we all know. Let me step back 1 second before we go into this chart. And to help the new people. In fact, let me just see if I see anything on this chart. During the time we've been going through these charts, we've seen some decent setups. We've seen some pretty good setups. Have we seen anything like this? And I'm not even talking about confluence, divergence. Have we seen anything this month that I've shown you that looks like this? Have we seen any of our, where were they? I need Mike's young brain when I'm doing things like this. Go back here and find our double, triple tops with divergence. Where were they? Where are those old setups that, if I wasn't trying to do a video here, I'd be able to find them everywhere. Maybe I'll pause it in a minute. Look, let me do that. Okay, I found a couple. We'll look at it towards the end of the video. Okay, anything jump out at you here? Bearish outside bar. Okay. And where would you think that this would have trouble? Well, certainly not where it did, other than, and this is where it comes back to experience and time. It really is. 155.68 is the bottom of that bar. 155.68 is the bottom of that bar. The bottom of this bar is 155.15. The bottom of, let me say it again. The bottom of this bar is 155.15. All right? The bottom of this bar is 154.85. So if you were looking at that bearish outside bar and you traded that bar and you looked over and you saw these bar highs at that big round number of roughly 155, would you trade into it? Or would you trade a close or a break below it? Or would you trade a break of it and watch, what was it, 50 or 60 pips turn into a huge loss? Okay? These are the ones that if we can get good at, if we're going to take them, if we can get good at these, at not taking large losses on these, that it really becomes just a matter of a short period of time before the account starts really growing. Okay, and obviously these bar lows right here, these bar lows, see this bar low, but look what happened. It hit that big round number. Let me ask you a question. If you were trading a 3-minute chart, and this move from the equivalent of this bar low to this bar low or this bar low was, let's say 8 pips. And let's say that you were trading a $150,000 account and you were going to risk 3%. And I think this will help you, so listen to me. let's assume that this trade, let's don't even use the bearish outside bar. Let's just say you are looking at a 3-minute chart and you are scalping or you're day trading. And you've got a $150,000 account and you're going to risk 3% per trade. Okay? And you have a, let's say you have a 20 pip stop loss. Okay, so that's $225 a pip. All right, let's say that this equivalent move went, that the equivalent of this, what is it? 155.68, and we'll just use the first bar. 50 pips. Okay, let's just say that on our 3-minute chart, instead of 50, it was 5. 225 times 5. $1,100, and let's say that happened in a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Remember, we're watching a 3-minute chart. Are you going to let $1,125 in a minute and a half turn into a $4,500 loss? Remember, 3% of a $150,000 account. Divided by 20, which was our stop loss, equals 225 per pip. Remember what we get back to a lot of times about risk-reward ratios? I know some of you just cringe when I say this. Do you know how many traders, and I know I'm speaking to some of you, do you know how many traders will mentally say, you know what, I've got a 20 pip stop loss. Everybody tells me, all the gurus, everybody on the forum tells me, hell, if my risk reward ratios aren't 1-to-1 or better, then I'm not trading like real traders trade. Well, I almost threw out a couple of words there. I refrained myself. So let me ask you this. You understand simple support and resistance. Are you actually going to watch $1,100 turn into a $4,500 loss because your R&R didn't make it to that level? Are you really going to do that? Please tell me you're not. I'm sorry, I know I'm going against some people even in the group. You know, if your method that you've developed accommodates that, then by all means, go for it. I'm not going to watch 50 pips turn into a 250 pip loss just because my 1-to-1 ratio didn't make it. That's dumb. That's just dumb. It's just my opinion. I've done it too many times. I feel really dumb every time I've done it. Okay? Why not learn simple support and resistance and understand why price is doing what it's doing? And if that one time out of 10 it doesn't do what it's supposed to, take a small loss and look for that next one. Okay? Okay? Instead of watching 3% of your account go out the window because your risk reward ratio didn't make it by 20 pips. Okay? That's a mental thing I'm trying to get across to you. All right. Anything else? Anything else? Well, I see this little bar right here. It's kind of got a little bit of room. You know, not your quintessential super long nose pin bar, but it qualifies. And where's it going? Well, it's going to these bar highs. Okay, quick profit. Quick profit. Worst case, break even. Break evens are wins, folks. Don't kid yourself. Put your break evens in your win column. That's where they belong. All right? Okay. Let's move on. Once again, if I slow down and I seem like I'm, you know, churning a little bit, it's because I did not prepare. I'm winging it. I'm going by what I understand and what I know, and trying to convey from my brain into the brain of especially new people some thoughts that I feel like will help them get off to a decent start. All right, what's the next one? What was I going to do? All right, here we go. All right, I actually had my line here. Let's make sure. 531, yes. Okay, anybody see anything here? Anybody see anything here that jumps out at it? Okay, I personally think it's one of the best setups of the month, personally. And I may use this as one of the things I was going to talk about. How do we catch trends? How do we catch trends? How do we make most of our trades, because most of our trades are going to be in a sideways market, aren't they? Because we know that markets spend most of their time sideways. So what do I try to do with my trading? What is my ultimate goal? And this is a decent example. I could use another one. What is my ultimate goal in any trade I enter? What am I truly looking for to happen? And simply because markets spend most of their time sideways, it doesn't happen a whole lot. But this is kind of what I'm looking to have happen. Every time I enter a trade, I'm wanting to see a similar scenario take place. And I'll go back and show you the CAD weekly in a minute. Okay. Pin bar. Nice. Okay, what do we have? Double bottom. Okay. Sorry, I had to pause that for a second. Double bottom, and I think I did a little video or something on this here a while back. And like I said, we'll talk about another one here in a second. Divergence, nice bar. Obviously 365 sitting up here. Obviously a sideways market. Have no clue whether or not it's going to break when it gets up there. But this is what and once again, pardon me, I'm trying to get the thoughts out of my brain in a way that will help the new people. As traders, we have to figure out a way to not let losses be large, and we have to figure out a way, because most of our trades are going to be short term, even on daily. We have to figure out a way and learn how to make quick profits or break evens at worst. And the losses we take, we have to keep them small. And that one trade out of 10, that one trade out of 20, what we're trying to achieve is the stack effect, where we can break free, into the start of a new trend. Okay? Let me show you this one as an example. Pin bar, double bottom, divergence gives us all the signs that we're going to at least have a push up to the 365, right? So we get that push, all right? Stop goes to break even. Some money comes off the table. And so what are we wanting to see happen? What in every trade we take, what are we wanting to see happen? we are wanting to see, as in this case, a resistance area broken before we're stopped out at break even. We want to leave ourselves in a situation where we've got some money off the table, or we're at break even if it doesn't break out and it comes back on us. Okay? So price makes our 365. We're watching this, we're 80% sure that it's not going to get above there, but it does. Okay? And once it does break the resistance, as in this case, then we know that there is a very good chance that's going to act as support in the future. And then we've got our runner. I'm sitting here mentally trying to think of words and concepts, and I don't know why I'm doing it, because it's just simple what we're trying to do. Okay, let me go back to the CAD Weekly real quick, because this is a great example. What happens most of the time? What happens most of the time when we get our setups? We get our move, right? Notice how this beautiful pin bar that we've discussed so many times over many, many months and years, notice how its first push made the area that we would suspect it's going to make. We talked about when it happened. Okay, look, bar lows, bar highs, okay? And it makes it there. Okay, now, normally, just because of the sideways nature of markets, normally what will happen is we're going to get a pullback that will be back below our entry, as in this case, because we went long. Let me say that again. Normally, I would say 7, 8 times, maybe 9 times out of 10. I don't know, I've never done statistics on it. When we get an initial push off of our bar, we almost always get our push to the first level of support and resistance. Okay, resistance in this case. But what almost always happens, because of the nature of how markets move, that being a sideways action to some degree, we almost always get a pullback that will be below our entry. Okay? So that opens up the discussion once again of, do I move my stop to break even, or do I leave it? Well, my thought process on this is very simple. I'm going to break even, and I'm either going to leave the whole position on with no worse than a break even, or I'm going to go to break even with part of it, and I'm going to take part off the table. And what do I want to see happen? I want to see happen what happened here. Actually, should have put it here. Should even put it lower, but let's put it here. Okay. Bar lows, bar highs. Okay. I want to see a level broken. Then I want to see another area form. Okay. Then I want to see, then I can hang on to this trade. Then I have a way to manage this trade. Price breaks out. What does it do? Use your round numbers. Sometimes you're going to get taken out just by a little. But eventually, you're going to catch that one that does this on a daily. And when you get good at it over a period of years, the same thing is true for a 1 hour, a 30-minute, a 15-minute, a 2-minute, a 5-minute chart. Okay? So what am I trying to do with my trade? I'm trying to do this. Okay? I'm trying to finesse and beat that market with knowledge, with an understanding of support and resistance. It's me against it. Okay? But I understand that this initial move up to here, notice how the pin bar formed, and we had the initial move. What most of the time happens is that happens and it comes back, doesn't it? That next bar comes back. Okay, then we get another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. Then it takes off. Okay, let me say that again. Because of the sideways nature of the market, look up here. Look at this. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Okay, tell me that markets don't spend most of their time going sideways, ladies and gentlemen. So when we get the bar and we get the push, we don't want to take a loss. Why should we? Because we've got that opportunity that by going to break even, we're going to have that opportunity where we're going to get one that's not going to come back on us. Okay? We're going to get an opportunity, as in this case, where price did not reach that first area and then rocket back below our entry and make us go crazy. What should I do? What should I do? Should I get out? Should I hang on? Oh my God. Look at the drawdown. What do I do? What do I do? No. I refuse to trade like that. I'm going to find the good setup. I'm going to find the good bar. I'm going to find the first area of support and resistance. When price gets there, I'm going to take some off the table. I'm going to get my stop to break even. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go, you know what? Sure would be nice if you would just take off for me, please. And give me that 1 in 10, you know. And as picky as I am, might not happen but once every 3 or 4 months. And give me that $100,000 move. Okay? I have no problem whatsoever taking the 4 or 5 a month that give me the 5,000 a piece profit or less, 3,000. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? These happen. These happen. And when they're worth a stinking fortune, trading like this, like I just described to you, is how you make it in this business. You don't make it in this business by being a shotgun trader. You don't make it in this business by watching price reach a support and resistance area and leaving your stop loss at a loss and hoping. You don't do it that way. It will not work. It will crush you mentally. Because, and why will it crush you mentally? Because most of the time, price is coming back. Most of the time, you're going to watch your $500 profit or your $50 profit or your $5,000 profit turn into a negative 500, and you're going to sit there and say, why the heck did I not get out when I was staring at all that profit? I'm saying to you, trade smart. Be picky with your setups. Knew it would happen. No one's as important as you guys right now. Don't let that happen. When you understand simple support and resistance, when it gets there, I don't give a rat's patootie if it's 20 or 30 pips or it's 200 pips. Get your stinking stop to break even and sit back and watch for this. Watch for this. Watch for this. Okay? And in the meantime, when you're waiting for the runner that doesn't come back and get you below break even, take your profits. Yes, 8 out of 10 are going to go to your first area, come back and stop you out. If you choose to go break even with the total position, You're going to get stopped out at break even with nothing a lot. Okay? But you know what? If you take 10 trades and 8 of them are break even and 2 of them are like this, do you think your account might be going to go up? If you take 10 trades and 8 out of 10 of them go to here and then come back into a drawdown and you get scared and get out because you didn't go to break even or take your profit, do you think your account's going to go down? Wow. I have learned so much from you guys. Teaching you guys has helped me immensely. I love doing this. I really enjoy it. This video was in response to the questions that were coming out of the journal stuff. I don't know if it's going to help you guys or not. I did my very best to try to convey to you my approach to trading after what is this? Almost 27 years. I don't really know what else to say other than, that's pretty much it. I spend most of my time with the futures market, the mini down, and I don't approach that any differently. I just use a few little extra tools. Floor trader pivots are a little more important to me in those markets. All I do, ladies and gentlemen, with my day trading is I try to find super confluence. I try, remember when we go back to this is it, this is it, this is it. Hang on just a second. That's the wife. She is important. Okay, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. All right. The day trading's no different. You just got to be more picky. It is not hard at almost 50 to sit and do what I want. It's not hard for me to sit 2 or 3 days a week on my hands when I know the kind of profit I can make if I follow what I was talking about earlier. If this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens, I'm going to trade. If this happens and this happens and it stops there, I'm not going to trade. Period. Do I screw up? Yep. Yeah, I sure do. Just an example in the day trading. If I have a pivot zone and a floor trader pivot and a round number and a bar confirmation all at that one level, am I going to trade? Yeah, that's what I look for. That's what I do. Am I going to have to be really, really quick and focused with my decision making once that trade's going? You better believe it. That's why day trading kills new people. And that's why I try to get you new people to stick to the longer time frame stuff before you move down. Okay? But what I showed you in this video, this is what I do. This is what I do. I just want to see, I want something to break free. What is that, an old Queen song? I want to see something break free of my break even and give me a reason to move my stop up and then continue to watch price behave like it's supposed to. And it usually will. It usually will. Just a beautiful example of old support and old resistance turning into new support and giving me a logical place to continue to ride this move. Okay? Easily a six-figure move for me on this kind of move. Okay, I've been in the same chair as every one of you. I've had the $50 accounts. I've had the $500 accounts. I've had the $2,000 accounts, and I can't count how many $5,000 accounts. These little moves never meant enough to me to get my stop to break even. You small account holders, you got to make a choice. You have to make a choice. If you small account holders are going to watch price reach your first support and resistance area and leave your stops at losses because the move between here and here is not enough money to make a difference to you, stop right now, because it's never going to work for you. You are practicing something that you are never in a million years going to do when you have an account where that move does mean something to you. You are practicing useless skills. They're not going to help you a bit. If you've got to go open a $250,000 demo account and somehow force yourself to believe it's real, that's better. I'm old and set in my ways, folks. I know some of you are different, and that's probably not true and not the case, but I'm just speaking from personal experience. You know, I really enjoyed this. I'm sure I missed some things that I wanted to cover, but probably the first video I've done in a long, long time, and I enjoyed very, very much. And like I said, I think what I'll start doing is towards the end of every month, doing a recap. And just, let's just talk about, that setup will come when it's, it's one like this, and it works out like this. Before I wrap up, let me just say this. This move right here lasted for a long, long time. This is a weekly chart. I had people that rode this up into this area. Had several people that did. Okay? Can be done. Enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just give me a shout.